I think we're gonna just jump up from there.
Oh,
Stay
yeah.
with.
Not me. Mark knows what
Yeah, that's all I need, EHS event.
to do. Please, yeah, no, please do not.
All right.
I need you guys, and the mics are on. No? Then I always want to do something. It happens.
I'm gonna say hi. Good morning.
Hi, Martha Gardner, nice to meet you.
Let's check.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and good morning, and thank you to everyone that is with us virtually. We're glad that you could make it. And thank you for being intentional in starting your day and starting your week with this session because it just means that you are dedicated to the future of our city and you're here to be a change maker, hopefully, with the inspiration that you're going to hear from the panel today. Before we start, my name is Beth McNeil. I am with the membership team at the Cincinnati Regional Chamber, and I'd just like to take a minute to thank both Whitney, Delano, and Lorenzo for the vision of starting this program and this series. Several years ago, we got together and talked about how do we coordinate the business community, the academic community, and make a change to help our workforce and help our young people. And that has morphed into also reskilling older folks and really changing the landscape of the workforce, current workforce and potential workforce. So for that, I want to say thank you to Lorenzo, to Delano, and to Whitney, and also thank you to the Cincinnati Chamber for having the fortitude to partner on this important series. So I'd like to introduce our moderator today. And if you have not met her, she is a who's who, someone you need to meet as soon as we finish this session. She is literally the heavyweight champion of STEM. And that is I don't know if you've had that title, but as I've read your bio several times, I'm always like, you know what, I just see her with this big heavyweight belt with all these trophies and awards because she's pretty remarkable and amazing. So she's not only a friend, but she is a professional colleague who I admire. And that is Dr. Whitney Gaskins. She is the Associate Dean of Professional Development and Community Impact at the University of Cincinnati College of Engineering and Applied Science, one of 2 African-American females currently teaching at the faculty of the College of Engineering. Whitney earned her Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering, her Master's of Business Administration in Quantitative Analysis, and her Doctorate of Philosophy in Biomedical Engineering, Engineering Education. See, told you, heavyweight. In her role as Associate Dean, Dr. Gaskins has revamped the Summer Bridge program to increase student support and retention, as well as developed and strengthened partnerships with local area school districts to aid in the high school to college pathway. She serves as a principal investigator for both the Choose Ohio First program and GE Next engineering grants. Through these grant programs, the students receive competitive scholarship funding and professional development workshops, which help prepare them to enter the STEM workforce. In 2009, she founded the Gaskins Foundation, a nonprofit organization who launched the Stimulates Year-Round K-12 program, which is a free program that introduces more students to math and science and currently offers programming in 5 cities. So if you have a little one in your family, in your community, please consider reaching out to the Gaskins Foundation. It's phenomenal work. She was named the 2017 K-12 Champion of the National Association of Multicultural Engineering Program Advocates. In 2015, Dr. Gaskins was awarded the Janice A. Lumpkin Educator of the Year Golden Torch Award. In 2019, she was recognized by the Cincinnati Regional Chamber as a Black History Maker. She was also the recipient of the Dr. Terry Kershaw Faculty Excellence Award and the Excellence in Teaching Award from the University of Cincinnati for her innovative honors course, Sticky Innovation. Isn't that a great name for a course? If you were looking what to sign up for, I love that name. She was inducted in the 40 Under 40 class of 2019 and recognized as a 2021 YWCA Career Woman of Achievement and a 2022 Girl Scouts Woman of Distinction. So the next voice you will hear is Dr. Whitney Gaskins.
I now want to buy a heavyweight champ belt to wear around. Hilarious. Thank you all for joining us, and those online, thank you for also signing in. I was not expecting that full bio. I put one up on the podium that was much shorter, but Beth brought her own. But I am so excited to have this conversation today. The panelists that we have today are really dedicated to STEM workforce development in various different ways. And I'm excited to have this conversation because I hope everyone, well, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't be watching the news. Every day is something. But if you have been watching, you're dialed in on how we have rolled back funding for both education and STEM and research, which means it's now more important than ever before to come up with innovative strategies so we do not see a decline in our STEM workforce development, and we can have our panelists answer why that's so critical. I want to take a moment to introduce these wonderful people to you. I'm going to read all of their bios, and then they're going to give a couple of words themselves. And I'm going to start with Dr. Gardner. So Dr. Martha Gardner is a technology executive with GE Aerospace, focused on quality industrial engineering. She joined GE Research after receiving her PhD in statistics. How many PhDs do you guys know in statistics? Okay. PhD in statistics from North Carolina State University, and spent 20 years there developing and applying statistics, quality, and innovation methods. She joined GE Aerospace in 2018 as a quality leader and then led the Edison Engineering Development Program before her current role. Martha is a fellow of the American Statistical Association. She currently serves on the Dean's Industry Cabinet for the University of Cincinnati College of Cooperative Education and is one of the Cincinnati City Captains for the GE Aerospace Next Engineers Program. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Gardner? Next is Tommy Lewis. Tommy Lewis is the founder, president, and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting, LLC. He and his firm offer 3 decades of domestic and global experience providing organizational development, strategic planning, executive coaching, and professional development training solutions to educational institutions, government agencies, public and private corporations, and nonprofit organizations. After several years of working as an architectural engineer in the construction industry, Tommy received what he calls the most pivotal professional advice in my life. Tommy's manager and mentor realized his unique skills and talents, advised him to stop building buildings and start building people. In 1996, Tommy founded Make It Plain Consulting in Nashville, Tennessee, as a business management firm specializing in human resource management, workforce development, training, executive performance coaching, and economic inclusion. Tommy has traveled to more than 55 different countries to lead business and workforce initiatives in the United States, Canada, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, India, and Asia Pacific. So basically everywhere but Antarctica. Okay. Tommy holds degrees and professional certifications from Tennessee State University, the University of Houston, and from the UCLA Emotional Intelligence and Diversity Institute. Let's give Tommy a round of applause. And last, but certainly not least, Dr. Monica Posey. Dr. Monica Posey has been president of Cincinnati State for 9 years, focusing on building relationships to achieve the college's mission and expanding employer partnerships to address the Tri-State's health skills gap. Her accomplishments include enrollment growth, approval to offer bachelor's degrees, expanded College Credit Plus, and 10-year institutional reaccreditation. Dr. Posey holds a Doctorate of Education from the University of Cincinnati, a Master's of Business Administration from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, and a Bachelor of Science from Cornell University. She completed PhD work in quantitative analysis and taught statistics at UC for many years. 2 statisticians on this stage? I love this. Whew. She is a graduate of the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber 2010 Leadership Cincinnati class and serves on the boards of Grad Cincinnati, Cincinnati Works, and the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. Community recognition includes the Business Courier's Women Who Mean Business, the Greater Cincinnati YWCA Career Women of Achievement, Cincy Magazine's 100 Most Influential, and the Westchester Liberty Alliance Women of Excellence Awards. Can we give Dr. Posey a round of applause? Now, given our topic today, I want each panelist just to have a way to introduce their thoughts and themselves to each of you, so we'll start with Dr. Gardner.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gaskins. I really appreciate the invitation to be here, and thanks to everybody for coming. So I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and was the kid that always really liked math, was very fortunate to have amazing teachers when I was growing up that really encouraged that. Then as I got into middle school and high school, not just teachers, but other adults that were very passionate about supporting us, driving us to our math competitions, all of that kind of stuff. I also saw my mother, who was very involved in community engagement for the things that were important to her. So that's why this is very important to me now. And I want to make sure that any child that has any sort of interest in this is given access to opportunities and encouragement to go forward.
Thank you. Avi.
I too want to say thank you for the Gaskins Foundation for inviting me. Being born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, I went to a school in a district of Mount Healthy. I had an African-American male who taught calculus, Dr. Belcher, and he made me one of the only people of color in calculus in high school, made me feel very comfortable, and also share with me that science, technology, engineering, math does not have to be intimidating. So I began to fall in love with science and math, but what he did not tell me is that at one point in studying math, calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, that there's a point where there's no numbers in math. It becomes differential equations and linear algebra. And if I were to do something different today with regards to STEM, is I would make the industry more feasible, more relative, and less intimidating, such that anyone can do it with some attention and some effort. So my conversation today is around partnering to make sure that our now and next generations are well aware and prepared for the next opportunity.
Good morning, and thank you. I guess what's the highlight of my STEM career actually was after I completed my master's in business. I worked at AT&T Company, and I worked in New Jersey, and then in Cincinnati. I came here when I got married, and I worked as a project manager. This is when the AT&T system, the Bell system, was breaking up, and I had a tremendous position in which I helped project manage engineers, marketing, manufacturing, sales, everyone come together to complete those projects. But what I discovered was I like to teach and I like to tutor, and I've been tutoring ever since in math, but I wanted to move into education because I wanted my career to focus on a mission of helping others. And so I'm so pleased now to be at Cincinnati State as president. We have over 100 different programs, and most of them are STEM related.
Thank you. Well, let's stay with you on a first question that I have. And just so the audience knows, there will be time for you to also ask questions of our panelists. And those online, you can also submit your questions, and we will ask those as well. But Dr. Posey, Cincinnati State plays a major role in prepping students for technical careers. What trends are you seeing in student interest and employer demand?
Student interest is strong in the health professions, nursing and allied health. I think because many students, especially students from underrepresented populations, do want to help other people. So our nursing program's just growing. We have a sonography, we have respiratory care, surgical tech. Some of these programs, we have waiting lists because students gravitate towards those professions, and there's a lot of demand, so that's excellent. We're seeing more interest in manufacturing. We're working very hard with our employer partners to educate families and students about manufacturing is not what it was years ago. It's really about technology and computers, and it's very exciting and clean environments. So we're seeing a little uptick there. But what stands out most of all is that there is a trend among our younger people to still be uncertain, so they need quite a bit of direction. We have intrusive advising. We do more career advising up front to help them discover what they could be doing. Employers, they're really about in-demand jobs, and that varies for different employers, but definitely the IT areas, manufacturing, much in demand. And then one last thing I'll say about employers, they still emphasize they would like their employees to come in with some basic soft skills. They want them to be able to work in teams. That's more important than ever, to be able to communicate, to be able to be very professional. So that's some of the trends I see.
Thank you for that. I'm going to go to Dr. Gardner because I intimately understand the GE Next Engineers program, which she also helps lead. And you said two things, Dr. Posey, that are interesting, at least I think for GE Next, that people want to go into healthcare, but they don't see the connection to helping people as an engineer. And we've worked in the GE Next Engineers program to have capstone projects for that. But then in general, people need to know that they have interest, right? So this is to Dr. Gardner. The GE Next Engineers program has been making an impact globally. How does it help build a stronger STEM pipeline here locally in Cincinnati?
So GE Next Engineers helps by introducing the students to what engineers actually do. What we've seen is that many students don't have much awareness of what engineers actually do. So through Next Engineers, they get opportunities to do hands-on activities, interact with engineers so that they start to get that understanding, but then also get excited about it and want to solve those problems and start to see themselves as an engineer for the future. In the Cincinnati area, since Next Engineers started in 2021, we have engaged with nearly 7,000 students in the Cincinnati area. It's very exciting. And for me personally, I've been able to see the impact. So, for example, last year I was volunteering with one of our discovery events at a local middle school. And the activity was building a structure with playing cards and then seeing how much weight it can hold. And this is a great activity because the students have a lot of opportunity to iterate, see what happens with their different designs that they're making and all that kind of stuff. Well, at the end, they have the opportunity to ask the volunteers questions. So one of the girls, she raises her hand and she asks, so how do we know how long the card structure will hold the weight? So first of all, as a statistician, I thought my heart would pop. I got to talk about reliability and durability modeling, so that was so exciting. But oh my gosh, such hope for the future too, to see that next level of question and that insight and that interest. So that's what I'm so excited about, seeing that impact. And the teachers tell us that the children, they're excited when they hear that we're coming and they look forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Now, Tommy, you work directly with the Brent Spence Bridge Project, which is a huge undertaking for the region. I saw it on the news just last week about what it was. Anyway, sorry, let me stick to the question. How does the work connect to broader STEM workforce development and our inclusion efforts in the city?
So the Brent Spence Bridge Project, for many of you who are familiar or not familiar, it's one of the most pivotal projects in this region in over several decades, 5 to 6 decades. It is the corridor between the northern states all the way down to Florida. And so every day it carries a little bit north of $1 billion of cargo every day, and then transportation. And so in this project, which is a multi-year project, it's necessary to have the workers available to build the project. That's been in talks for about 5 or 6 decades, it may seem. Not as much, but it's been in talks for some time. And so in the effort to develop the workforce, the organization that our company works for, Walsh Kokosing Joint Venture, that partners with the states of Ohio and Kentucky, they have initiated and charged us with not only identifying existing workers in labor unions and those in the trades, but also going into secondary school systems and then primary. So really making sure that we bring awareness of all opportunities, engineering and STEM, at the 6th grade, 7th grade, high school level, college and post-college levels. And so why is this important? Because the work sometimes in construction is not seen as romantic. It is hard work. You're dealing with the elements, you're dealing with different people, you're dealing with folks physically doing things as well. So not only mentally can it be challenging, physically it can be challenging. And so in the preparation for this project and going into not only, post-secondary, but secondary schools, it allows us to really meet students where they are, make opportunities, make them aware of opportunities, as well as kind of give them the truth about the industry. Right? Again, it's not as romantic, but it can be. You can make a career in this. And this is just one project, let alone other projects in this region and across the world. So I think we're doing a yeoman's job in having events across the community, both in Ohio and in Kentucky, and to really bridge the gap. Literally, we're building a bridge, but bridging the gap between what I don't know and what could happen. And that's the effort that we're doing with the Brent Spence Bridge.
That's fantastic. I'm going to stay on you for a second, but you two, please feel free to chime in when you hear this question. Because, Tommy, your firm has worked with organizations across the region to help build this STEM workforce. What are the most effective strategies you've seen for embedding equity and an inclusion in workforce development?
I think this is a great question. I think 3 strategies. One, the partnerships between industry, education, trades, and the community is pivotal. It's important to have these partnerships. Partnerships are not one way. It's reciprocal. And so when the industry is saying, hey, we have a need, we can go back 20 years ago with Gallup reports, McKinsey Institute reports, World News reports, and they were talking about this war for talent. Then industry said, we have a need. The community and education said, how can we help you, industry, meet your need? So there was a partnership there. Secondly, from an educator's perspective, one strategy is shifting the mindset of the educators. Sometimes our educators, not all, may see talent, be it high school or college, and literally place a bias on that talent and say, you can't be a statistician. You can't be this or that. Instead of leaning toward the you can't, let's have the mindset of you can and you will, and I will help you achieve that. And that's my story from earlier. The third strategy is that we have to, we being industry, education, the community, we have to project what the possibilities are. In other words, engineering is about problem solving. So we're not necessarily creating the solutions for today, we're creating the solutions for tomorrow. We have to be proactive to say in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, what are our challenges from a workforce perspective, industry perspective, and job opportunity perspectives, and work and solve problems toward that end with partnerships.
Yeah. Do either of you have anything you want to add? Okay. You were like, no, he covered it all. Okay, so Dr. Posey, what innovations are you most proud of at Cincinnati State that help support students to enter into STEM fields?
And it really relates to what was said there, so I certainly agree with all those key points. Cincinnati State's mission is to provide opportunity, access, and support for individuals that are seeking careers or additional education. So I'll start with access. Key for us, access is about having low tuition, the lowest in the area, but it's also about making sure that individuals come in from all different backgrounds, academically, as well as culturally and economically, and help them into college and be placed in the right classes and programs. So we started multiple measures. At one time, placement in classes at college was all about your standardized tests. Well, multiple measures looks at several indicators of students' need and potential. For example, it includes conversations with advisors and with counselors, because we know that if an individual is motivated, they will do well in their math class. It's not all about a test score. They talk about their high school math and high school experience. They might look at some samples of work. So that multiple measures was implemented right before COVID, and it's worked out well because it moves individuals into their programs of study much earlier versus some kind of remedial coursework. That's access. In terms of opportunity, it's about having a range of programs, whether it's a short-term certification, long-term certificate, the associate degree, and then we do have 3 bachelor's degrees now. And those bachelors are in applied sciences. So that's our culinary food science and our land surveying and our nursing bachelors. But what's innovative is that we do it at the community college price. And students are transitioning, they're completing their associate degrees, from moving right into their bachelor's and then right into great employment. And lastly, the concept of support is about holistic, comprehensive supports. So we have a program called C-State Accelerate that provides the financial, but the mentoring and the support students need. We have C-State Complete, where we have peer tutors and mentors. We track down students who skip the semester and bring them back. So our innovations are around increasing access and opportunity, but definitely support, whether it's mental health, food pantries, a child care center. All those things make a difference, and connecting them to take the students to graduation.
That's fantastic. Thank you for bringing up the holistic part of life. I think sometimes we tend to forget that our students are people too. And as all of us know, life doesn't stop no matter what you're doing. And so supporting the student from wherever they're coming from is critical. And some people don't see it that way. But thank you for providing services that really support the whole student. Dr. Gardner, can you explain what the GE Next Engineer program is and why GE chose to build this program?
Right. So the GE Next Engineers program has multiple components to it. We have the Discovery program, which is the hands-on activities that we do in the middle schools. And then we have an academy component that is focused on high school students. They have the hands-on activities also, although they're longer-term projects versus what can happen in middle school just during a class period. And they work on these long-term projects, so they learn the soft skills that you talked about, as well as, say, project planning, also, of course, the engineering component of those projects as well. So it really sets them up for how things will work when they go to college and they're in classes. And I mean, why we do this is because we recognize one doesn't just become an engineer overnight. So as I mentioned before, we recognize that it requires access to opportunities and also encouragement along the way. So the Next Engineers program also contains a substantial volunteer component where our employees go in and provide that encouragement, not just through the hands-on activities, but they also have career panels where they talk about, hey, what's a day in the life like? In the academy program, they also get to go visit different facilities like our Peebles Test Facility, our Customer Technical Education Center, so they get to see the products as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to check the audience. Is there anyone that has a question in the audience for our panel? If not, I will take over the whole conversation because I have a list. Yeah. Yeah. I will repeat the question from the audience, but the question was about how AI is impacting the future of our workforce, and if you all could speak to where you're seeing artificial intelligence and in its space in this workforce development.
Key for us is partnerships with employers to learn how the employers are using AI and how we can incorporate it into our curriculums and help the students learn so they're more prepared when they go out. We found, for example, in the legal profession, very much a part of what they're doing, so we've incorporated AI in the paralegal coursework. We're looking at all our advisory groups. Each of our programs has advisory teams that are mostly employers, a few faculty as well, but talking to them about how do you use AI, what's your plan, what's your future for AI, and then what can we do? We also have received through GE and the United Way a grant to partner with other institutions to look at preparing students for the future, and that's going to be addressed. And then at the same time in higher ed, of course, we're always looking at AI and how to maintain academic integrity and coming up with those standards and guidelines. But overall, our faculty are connected with the employers, so they're not pushing it away. They're saying, what can we do?
Right, but it's really complementary, right? So, I mean, certainly it's in every aspect of everything that we're doing, right? But you still need the STEM foundations, right? So that you can say, hey, is the output that I'm getting from this, is it realistic? Does it make sense? Does it still adhere to the laws of physics, this sort of thing?
I think that's spot on. At the end of the day, AI is a technology that can be used for the betterment of anything, but we do want people to still remain independent thinkers. So not just to go to AI quickly for the answer and the know-it-all, because AI itself does have some baked-in biases as well, because it knows what we input. So with the work that we're doing in STEM, working with human beings, let humans still think for themselves and problem solve for themselves.
Thank you for that. Oh, there's more questions in the audience. Yes.
Okay,
Can you
so-
repeat his question for the, yeah. So the question from the audience was, for the GE Next Engineers program, what inner city schools do they work with?
Right, so in the Discovery program in the middle schools, we go to either 7 or 8, and we go to them twice a year, so in the fall and the spring. And it changes a little every year. So I know ones that I've volunteered at, I mean, you mentioned I've been to Mount Healthy before, been to Winton Woods, we've been to, was Withrow, and now it's changed.
Yeah.
They changed the name.
CPS did a reorg of
Yeah,
the
they
schools.
did a reorg. So it's multiple schools at the Discovery level. Now, at the Academy level, the students come from all over because, I mean, they apply for that. And then a lot of those sessions are actually held down at University of Cincinnati as well. And then the volunteers go there to work with them. But that represents many schools from across Cincinnati area.
Every student in the greater Cincinnati area has the opportunity to apply to GE Next Engineers Academy program. And Lockland is one of the schools that we go to as well.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think through, and it does rotate every year depending on interest from the school. I saw a question in the back, yes. So just to repeat the question, there's a lot of good work happening at Cincinnati State. We just want to know the percentage of grads that are staying in the greater Cincinnati region.
Pretty much all of them. We estimated from a survey 85 to 90% stay in this area. And that's because we are a commuter school, so most of our students are from this area originally. We work very hard to place them in co-op assignments and internships with local employers. And then also, we do have some online programs, but not a lot. And even most of the people that we have taken advantage of our online are actually here in this area, and they stay and they work. And our employers are so supportive. They're there on campus. We have career fairs and information sessions. They help us with mock interviews, all kinds of things. So they're always building that connection, and that helps keep our graduates in the area.
Outstanding. I saw two more hands. Yes, in the back.
I don't know, they might add a little more beyond our institution or some other institutions in this area that I partner with. But I think part of the challenge is that students, young people, are exposed to so many different things. There's so much information coming on, you know, into their minds. There's so much social media that has strong impact, emotional level impact as well. So they're changing or uncertain, and they just need a bit more support. Of course, some of our low-income students, maybe our first-generation students, they need more role models, still more exposure to see what's in demand, what's an in-demand job, what is a STEM career, what does it mean, and how does that translate to supporting their goals for the future. So I just think it's so much information that they're receiving that there's less certainty.
And just so those online, if you did not hear the question, we're trying to understand the trend of students entering into college or programs undecided. And so we were responding to that. Did anybody else have anything else to add to that? There was another question I saw. Yes. So the question from the audience, is there a direct pathway for employment for students who participate in the GE Next Engineers program?
Okay, so right now, they do the academy program when they're in high school, and when they graduate from the program, if they enroll into an engineering program in college, we do provide a scholarship for that. And so once they're in college, some of them will go into engineering fields that we do hire for. Some of them will go into different engineering fields as well. Certainly, we have very active engagement on our university campuses. We hire co-ops and interns. So certainly we'll, as the first batch of students get to that age where they would be eligible for co-ops and interns, for those that are in the fields we hire for, we'll make them aware of those opportunities.
There was a question submitted on the live stream. In today's political climate, how do we encourage our youth that there is a space for them in STEM? This is from Daryl online.
We're emphasizing at Cincinnati State a sense of belonging. We want to make sure that students come in and feel like they belong in college, but also that they belong in their major, their fields of study. That's why we're trying to place them in their technical courses earlier. And we do this, as I said, through the multiple measures, but also we incorporate in some of our courses some of the basics. If they're a little weaker in math or English, you can still take a technical course, but you just have that supplemental information and material and tutoring to go through it. So when we connect them with their technical programs, they start seeing and believing that they can continue and pursue a STEM career. And then the other, there's a statement, a quote that says, there's no better time than now to reach your potential. And it's a continuous conversation about This is your time. You can reach your potential. Your potential is STEM because your potential is about earning more, about making a difference, and also building up our community.
I would just add that in our work in consulting, we work with a number of companies, institutions, organizations, domestically and abroad. And our research says that with any institution, organization, the number one asset are people. Sure, we have bricks, mortar, machinery, but people. And so what we say is that even in today's climate, organizations still need people. And if you are a person, you are valuable. And so wherever you are in your career, starting your career, mid-career, or maybe even pivoting your career at the end to make the adjustment, your being a person is valuable. Again, regardless of the climate. And these companies are going to find, just like 20 years ago, there was a war for talent, there's still a war for talent now. We have an aging workforce. We have a loss of intellectual property with our aging workforce. They're turning to mentoring our younger workforce. And then there is a workforce that is still not there yet, but is looking at the other folks to say, what do I have to look forward to? Do I have to look forward to a job that's going to wear me out and not have work-life balance? Am I going to have to look for a job that's going to pay me pretty well, but that's all I'm going to be doing, and not really caring for my mental health, my holistic well-being? And so the people are our number one asset.
Yes, I'll just add, that's why the engagement with the students is important, so that they can see people who are doing those kinds of jobs and hear about them.
Yes.
I mean, I'll be honest, when I was growing up, I had no idea what any of my friends' parents did for work. Like, no one talked about that stuff. And that, I think, also gets back to what you said about, now they know a lot more about all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you just made me think. I was like, what did my friends' parents do? I don't think I knew either, unless they were a teacher, because then you saw them maybe, but other than that, no clue. I didn't know what my parents did though for the longest time either. Let's be honest. I was like, what do you do? Work, right? That's it. Yeah, a question in the front. So the question is, what do we do outside of the classroom to help engage students into STEM, even if it's social media or something else, but what are we doing outside of the classrooms to get students into STEM?
Yeah, so, I mean, I can start. So we host a lot of learning events at our different facilities, so the students can come in, see what's going on, get some hands-on experience with problem-solving, things like that. We have volunteers, STEM-focused volunteers through many different organizations in the area, not just Next Engineers. Our employees volunteer through, say, Girl Scouts, iSpace, the Cincinnati STEM Collaborative, all of those sorts of things as well. Mm-hmm. And we certainly, have very active social media presence and things like that. Even Next Engineers, has an Instagram.
Yep.
And things like that. But we really want children to see things in action and participate. Really see it as a participating thing.
For ourselves, we're a consulting organization, and I founded and I am the CEO of the organization. And I took personal accountability for having these conversations with not only our younger generations, but our now generation. And so I created a nonprofit organization called the Illuminate Leadership Institute and Conference that brings together 7th and 8th graders and 9th graders, and they go through a series of learnings that are similar to our adult executive leadership organizations like Leadership Cincinnati, et cetera. It's the same type of experience, just scaled for the audience. That's one thing. The other thing I do personally is when it comes to STEM and things like that, I simply have conversations with people in the community. And what do I mean by that? When you go to the retail store or the shopping mall, there's always these sales, right? And the sale says 25% off. And I see younger people, maybe people who are not familiar with percentages, they really don't know what that percentage is. So they see it's 25% off. I don't know, right? And so I ask, what does that mean? How much does it originally cost? $49. What's 25% of 49? Is it $1? Oh, they're gonna get you, right? It's not $1. And so that person-to-person interaction that allows people to see that using math in the moment can save you money, right? Or not. And so we do know that sometimes retails, they mark things up to give it a 20% discount. You're actually paying more, it's just season. But it's simply interacting with human beings in the moment to show the value and the importance of the skills and competencies of science, technology, engineering, and math.
And I'll just add that it's important that our organizations that are not necessarily STEM organizations find ways to connect young people to STEM. So one would be our church. We actually had Dr. Gaskins came in, presented to the youth. They built the bridge and had a wonderful time, but that was a science exposure. They didn't expect it at church, but it was well received. I'm also, my whole family, we're in martial arts, but martial arts is based on physics, the breaking, the punching, the moves. So we incorporate physics in our martial arts class. So I think there's many ways we can keep looking and making those connections.
Yeah, just to follow on that, actually, not all of our volunteers that go for our discovery events are engineers. You don't have to be an engineering employee to volunteer. We provide training and all of that kind of stuff, but everyone contributes to problem solving at our company, regardless of whether you're engineering, say a mathematician like myself, maybe some other sort of scientist, or even marketing, finance. All of that comes together to solve problems. So that's been exciting for many of our volunteers.
Absolutely. And not so shameless plug for me. The Gaskins Foundation runs Stimulates, that's hosted the first Saturday of every month right here at the Cincinnati Museum Center for kids starting at age 5 all the way to 18. Our high school students have a way to get a micro-credential. They are learning about basic electric circuits and Python. It is a fantastic program if you take advantage of it. I will say, probably since the pandemic, we see less and less engagement. I understand what's happening, but if we're going to be serious about educational equity, and especially our STEM workforce, take advantage of the program. Come down the first Saturday of every month and participate. And we specialize in doing connectedness to the world. It's not the manufacturing model that you get when you're in school where you're not understanding when will I ever use y equals mx plus b? We show them that. We teach them that. So it's no longer just this abstract thing that I learned in my class. It is all rooted in real world experiences, things that they actually see, experience. And sometimes it is grand exposure. Like they did not realize, we did this in September, how much sensors have changed over time to make their video games even more realistic. That is something that computer scientists and biomedical engineers developed for the very video game that you like to play. And now we have students that are like, well, I want to do that. So come and participate, not shameless plug at all. Like I come down to the museum center. I got another question online, and then I'll get your question in the back. What do employees and higher ed, I think it says employers, sorry, employers and higher ed need to be thinking as we prepare for entry-level roles being expected to perform at a higher level of contribution on entry as AI eliminates typical entry-level work?
I would emphasize the partnerships between higher ed and employers. The idea is that we build curriculum together and we incorporate what we need in the classroom based on what the employer tells us. We have many partnerships that are comprehensive. In fact, we're working with GE. We have an aviation maintenance program that is growing. There's so much need, and the companies has helped us. They've given us engines. They've given us recently a grant to hire additional instructors, but they also do workshops and they're on campus. They support our Engage event. So they are helping direct the institution, and as they do more in AI, they'll automatically be directing us. The partnership's already there. It's just that we can continue to build on it and add as we look at the future. And I'm sure they're probably a leader in AI. And then we can share some things that we've already started with other employers with those.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have so much new technology, new programs being developed in our company, and we're going to need more people as we go forward. So in terms of, I mean, we look for students that have experience when we hire. I mean, a lot of them have done, say, co-ops and internships and things like that. I mean, there's so many more opportunities now for that kind of experience and exposure than there used to be.
I do still think that those who are entering into the workforce, we may not be holistically trained, not only from a competence and skill perspective, but also social and soft skills. Even the term showing up to work, it's defined differently by different generations. So maybe, you know, there are some folks who are coming in maybe using AI as a crutch, and they show up at work, and their definition of work means I'm there. So now that I'm here, pay me. Another generation says, you actually have to do some work. And they actually push the paradigm of thought and creativity. So do we want to, as a workforce, as an industry, do we want to do the same thing today to get the same results, which may be the problems that we're trying to solve? Or do we want to be innovative, using the resources like AI, using the human capital like human beings, and say, what does the next 10, 15, 20 years look like for our industry, for our educational system, and for us as citizens of this world? Other places around the world are starting to think about this. And then they may be ahead of the curve, if you will, with regards to education and technology and industry, and now we're competing, right, and trying to catch up. And so, again, just to double down, human beings, in my opinion, are still the #1 asset. It will not take the place of technology, but we have to work in concert with technology.
I just want to highlight for people that I get the fear of artificial intelligence, especially understanding that job elimination could be a part of this integration into society. But I want us to remember that we've been here before. We have seen the invention of calculators, of the internet, of personal computers, all of which had the same fear. What happens, however, is that we learn to work differently with the tool. Did calculators actually replace jobs? It did. Did your cell phone replace jobs? Yes, I was asking somebody the other day, how many cartographers do you guys know anymore, right? Like, I don't know anyone that goes into that field. It doesn't mean that it's not important work. It just looks differently. We have learned how to do some of the same things that we are doing now in a different way because of the tools and the advent of technology. So the same thing's going to happen with artificial intelligence, but you need to stay on top of it as people, meaning you need to know how it works. Gone are the days that people can actually go to work and say, oh, I don't want to use a computer. Remember when that was a thing, right? People, I don't want to use that thing. No one can do that anymore. So it's the same with AI. You're not going to be able to go to work and be, I'm not going to use that. You probably are going to use it. That's okay. But we as a populace need to say, how do I want to embrace this technology in this field? Our work streams just might look different than they did before. We're not punching cards to program computers anymore. So don't forget that, like, I get the panic. It is scary. It is different. This is probably more powerful than a tool that we've seen in the past because it is imitating thought, but it's still not a person. You do still have to have the human element in the tool, and it does get stuff wrong. I hope you guys aren't blindly using AI because it really does get things wrong. Don't be that person. Okay. That was my editorial for today. Okay. There was another question. I apologize. Yes.
Definitely, we're interested. Many of the programs, it's based on funding and having, the partnership to provide the support. But we do several different things. We have some summer bridge programs. We have partnerships with different organizations. We recently started a partnership with Kenwood Dealer Group because there's such a shortage of automotive service technicians, and they need to know some advanced science. They need to know how all the electrical components of automobiles work. So they're providing all kinds of supports to make that happen with us. They support us in recruiting, helping students, promoting the careers, and getting students ready to start the program. So we have great partnerships and we're always open to more. That's a perfect fit for us, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, our Next Engineers program, I should have mentioned, our community partner is University of Cincinnati. So we provide the volunteers, but University of Cincinnati does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the program management and things like that. So,
Yes.
very good.
Outstanding. Oh, yes. So the question was about academic gaps, if we're seeing any academic gaps with students entering into Cincinnati State or even in the workforce.
Certainly still challenges in math that we are always working on how to address. The other is that we would love more students to take physics in high school because that's key for our programs, but also so they can transfer. Our largest transfer partner is UC, and whether it's the College of Engineering or other technical areas, if they already have the physics, when they come to us, they can take higher level courses that prepare them even better for transfer. So that's the challenge, I think, math and physics.
Yeah, I just want to add, I mean, this is one reason I personally think that discovery program is so important in the middle school area, getting them exposed to this before they're making decisions about what classes to take in high school, because that really does tee them up better for a STEM degree in college. They've had that background.
I'm going to give this one thing about students taking physics. I work in the College of Engineering, so I'm always gung-ho, we need more engineers. But I hope everyone realizes that we are seeing flight out of education, and we were already low in number of teachers who specialize to teach higher level science and math courses. So what does that mean for our students in the public school systems in particular? It means that they don't have access and opportunity to the same coursework. It is not because your district is deficient. I think a lot of people like to point fingers of why don't they offer this? Why don't they offer that? They want to, but who's going to teach it? They want to offer chemistry and physics and calculus. Who's teaching it? And so if we do not get people to go into education and are prepared to teach higher level math and science courses, we're going to continue to see this gap, because it's not that districts don't want to offer it, they don't have teachers. And we all know how we did teachers in 2020. So we should not be surprised that there is a flight of those leaving that workforce. We need to come up with some innovative solutions to get those back into education, because there are some really fantastic educators, or those who could be fantastic educators, but no one wants to go to a field where they are not going to be respected and valued for their time and energy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm editorializing a lot. Okay, back to our panelists. This is our closing question. I apologize that I'm losing track of time. I could talk to you guys about this all day, as you can tell. But in one sentence, what is the most important action we should take today to strengthen the STEM workforce for tomorrow?
I can start. I really think it's what I just said about having the awareness at a younger age and having that encouragement to help them make decisions about what they do in terms of preparation so that they're ready to go get that STEM degree in college.
I would add, in addition to the awareness, having straight talk conversations around what it's like to be in that field or industry, such that we're not necessarily moving folks away from the opportunity, but we're sharing. It is work. It's going to require thinking. It's going to require dexterity. Even if you work individually, it's going to require the skill set of teamwork. So everything in the organization is around a team. We're working individually as a collective. That's what I would leave with folks.
I would say take advantage of cooperative education programs. UC is a big co-op school, one of the biggest in the country. Other universities are beginning to incorporate that. Cincinnati State is one of the few two-year colleges that have co-op. But those co-op assignments in STEM careers increase student success. It helps them clarify their career goals and connect them right away with employers so they will stay in the area.
Outstanding. Can we please give our panelists another round of applause for a fantastic discussion today? If you had fun today, which I think all of you did, if I say so myself, there are a few upcoming events. We have our Women in STEM Honors Luncheon happening March 16th at the Delta Hotel. We have our STEMfluencers Party with a Purpose. For those who are in the room that are like, what is that? It is a way for us to acknowledge those who are in STEM careers right here in the greater Cincinnati area, highlighting them for all the work that they do. It is a wonderful group. It's like the who's who of STEM. We want to recognize folks because I don't think people realize that STEM careers are like not the front line people. They're usually working on things in the background, many of which have told us, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I've ever won an award or been recognized before. And so this is a great way to help recognize someone. Nominations are open, so if you want to nominate someone to be a STEMfluencer, please nominate them. And then we also have our 8th annual STEMmies Awards. We just had this September 20th this year. It is September 19th. All of these events are at the Delta Hotel. We would love to see you there. Again, recognizing the STEM talent. We understand that representation matters. Those who are honorees in both the STEMfluencers and the STEMmies will volunteer for any program to come talk to the youth. That is one of the things that they're excited about. And so we're excited that we've built this kind of a database for people so that way they have representation and they can speak to somebody right here in the area that they live doing something really cool. And then I just want to say thank you, all of you, for joining us today, those in the room and online. If you could take a few moments to give us your feedback, that would be fantastic. But that is the end of our program today. And again, thank you all for coming.